Hello, this is Jeff from Studio 41 Gaming, and we're back with the next Smite Arena video, and this time we are talking about Scylla. So, in terms of God Builder, we got Shoes of the Magi, give you a bunch of magical power early in the game, some penetration, some movement speed. Next, we got the Book of Thoth, so we can get a bunch of stacks and get a bunch more magic power, based on the amount of mana you have, that is. Next we got Obsidian Shard for a bunch of penetration and magical power. And then we got Pythagorean's Piece. Gives a nice aura and also has magical power, more mana, some life steal, and some cooldown. Next we got Chrono's Pendant, some power, mana per second, cooldown, and of course its nice passive that gives a bunch more cooldown. And then last we have the Rod of Tahuti, bunch of magical power, just basically give you as much hitting power as you can get, and with Scylla that is very important because of how her abilities work. And then last for our relics we got Beads and Aegis Amulet, standard stuff there for mages. Alright, and then for Scylla's abilities we got Quick Learner for her passive, so each of her abilities gains an additional effect at max rank. And then, in addition, Scylla gains 20 magical power for each max rank ability, that is. And then her first is Sick'em, where she sends her 2 dogs forward that CC and root and, you know, all that good stuff. And then at max rank, it hits 2 additional enemies next to the first target. Well, they have to be like really close. And it also does a lot of damage. Do not underestimate this thing's damage. Next we have Crush, where she sends out her magical field that slows enemies, and then you can detonate it and blows a bunch of shit up. And then at max rank, enemies will have their magical protection reduced and targets hit are slowed even more. Next we have Sentinel, which is basically Scylla's escape. She gains mana per second passively, and then she sends him out and can move to wherever she sends him out at afterwards. It's basically used as an escape in Arena. And then next we got I'm a Monster, where Scylla reveals her true nature and goes and absolutely smorks wherever she hits. So she basically can hit one little area, and if she hits that area, it will hit hard. So the only problem is that it's a really small area, but that's her abilities. God Builder, I think default is fine. I got no problems with it, so let's get into some gameplay. So Scylla is really, really powerful. When she maxes out her abilities and you start getting some items, she just lays waste to enemies, just chunking them down with her 1 and 2. And do not underestimate her Sick'em attacks damage, because it really hurts. Once you get to late game, it can do 500 or 600 points of damage for whenever you hit people and like on softer mages and hunters and enemies that aren't building a lot of defense. It can really catch them off guard. And then along with her 2, it can just comboing those 2 back and forth can be just really, really powerful, hitting for easily over 1,000 with both abilities combined, that is. And then of course her ult. One of the best things to do is use Sick'em and then ult and just nuke them. The only problem can be if they bead out real quick and you ult right when they bead, you might have to make a tough shot there. And then of course they might have a escape ability. So Scylla is definitely best paired with like Ares or Odin, one of the big tanks that can just wrap up a whole bunch of people and stop them dead in their tracks. Because Scylla's ult circle is really small, so it can be a bit of a pain to hit at times, especially on moving targets. So if you have a bunch of CC on your team and you're playing Scylla, you're gonna have a good time, because without the CC, she's going to have to do a lot of her own work with her Sick'em and then trying to ult right after and hoping they don't escape in time. And of course, Scylla's biggest downfall is that you're going to have games where you're going to do a lot of damage but not get a lot of kills. And that's just the nature of the game with some of the mages like Poseidon and Scylla, and even Cuckoo at times. You're going to lay the damage, but getting kills is going to be tough because you're really relying on your abilities to finish enemies off. And when your one ability has a cooldown and it just does a lot of damage at once, you're going to probably not get a lot of kills. That being said, like I said, if you're playing with a team that has a lot of CC and some other good damage dealers, you're going to get kills. But at times you're going to have those games where you're going to knock people down to where they have a sliver of health left and somebody else will get the kill just because, well, you don't have the sustain to really finish them off. But Scylla, she's pretty straightforward to play. Get your stacks, you'll be fine most of the time. Just try and use your Sentinel wisely, because once you use that, you're not, unless you have Aegis on cooldown, you're not getting away from too many chasers. So you just gotta play safe. Don't go rushing up, otherwise you're gonna really pay for it. But thanks for watching, and I don't know who I'm doing next for the next Smite video. I'm just kind of making these up as I go along. But thanks for watching.